The topic of this video is solving absolute value equations. Let's look at a problem. Find the real solutions of the equation. We have the absolute value of this fraction equals 0, and the fraction has a numerator of 9x minus 5 and a denominator of 5x minus 4. So, just as we've done in other problems, the first step is to replace any expression inside an absolute value bars with star. So we're going to have the absolute value of star equals 0. Now we ask ourselves the question, what value or values can we replace star with so that when we take the absolute value, we get the result 0? The only number that has that property is 0 itself. Star must be 0. So we can write star equals 0, and we don't need the absolute value bars anymore because we've already considered that part of the problem. Now, star used to be this fraction, so we put it back the way it was. This gives us 9x minus 5 over the difference 5x minus 4 equals 0. There are two ways of solving this equation. One is to understand how fractions work. The other is to solve a proportion, to set two fractions equal to each other. Let's do both of these methods. First of all, the numerator of a fraction tells you how many of what you have. The denominator tells you what type. So the only way a fraction can equal 0 is if the numerator is 0. Therefore, we can go directly to the statement 9x minus 5 equals 0. When we move the 5 to the other side, it changes signs. We get 9x equals 5. When we divide by 9 on both sides, we get the final result, x equals 5/9. Okay, now the second method of solving this equation is to solve a proportion. So we're going to write 9x minus 5 over 5x minus 4, but instead of writing equals 0, we're going to write it as equals 0 over 1, because anything divided by 1 is itself. That's important to remember. To turn something into a fraction, all you need to do is put a 1 under it, because anything divided by 1 is itself. Now we have a proportion of the form fraction equals fraction. Proportions can be solved by setting the cross multiples equal. So I'll multiply those together, and I will multiply those together, and I will set them equal. The green part is 5x minus 4 times 0. The brown part is 9x minus 5 times 1. And we remind ourselves that these are equal. Anything times 0 is 0. Anything times 1 is itself. Notice that we now have the same equation that we had simply by understanding fractions. 9x minus 5 equals 0. And of course, since the equations are the same, the solutions will also be the same. Therefore, we now have x equals 5/9. This completes this problem.